Peppa Pig is a super funny cartoon, but it often has moments that are just plain weird. Have you ever noticed the little details hidden in the Pink Piglet's episodes? Aunt Dottie. One of the strangest things in Peppa's world was Aunt Dottie's visit during the Thanksgiving episode. It all started when Mommy Pig got a phone call from this character who had never appeared in the story before, even though everyone knew she existed. Aunt Dottie showed up without warning, which was already a weird surprise because nobody in the family was prepared for that day. And the strangest part was that Dottie said she was there to celebrate Thanksgiving, which is an American holiday. Everyone knows Peppa's family, including Aunt Dottie herself, is British, which means this holiday isn't celebrated in the country of Queen Elizabeth. In other words, it makes no sense for Peppa's family to celebrate this day. Sure, Mummy Pig's sister lives in the United States, and over time she probably started celebrating such an important holiday, but even so, it's strange to think that Dottie would travel across the world just to join the family on a day that, in theory, isn't even special for them. Did you catch that detail? This and much more we're about to show you, so grab your popcorn because it's time for another Super Cinewave special. Woof! Did you know that in Peppa's world there are references to real-life stories? One of them is the fact that Mr. Wolf wants to eat Daddy Pig and the entire pig family. That's a terrible thing, and it's actually an Easter egg referencing the famous children's tale The Three Little Pigs, where a hungry wolf wants to break into the house of pig brothers so he can have them for dinner. In the episode The New House, Peppa and George want to spend time with their dad while he works on a building project for a family that's going to move in. And our main character even suggests adding a swing set for the kids to play on. When the new family arrives at the house, we find out that the new resident will be Mr. Wolf, and this character seems very interested in finding out where Daddy Pig lives and what their house is made of. This is proof that the wolf wants to eat Peppa's entire family, and everyone knows that would be a terrible crime. So, after that, did Daddy Pig start protecting himself more? Let's hope so, because if the clues are correct, Mr. Wolf is just waiting for the right chance to do something bad to the main character's family. An example is in the New York episode, when he gets on a plane because he wants to follow Peppa's family. Was he planning to eat Daddy Pig right then and there? What do you think? Cheek. Have you noticed that Eevee has something unusual on her face? Her cheek looks like a heart, and this is definitely a detail many fans are wondering about. Yes, Eevee has one side of her face that's different. It's a little mark that looks a lot like a heart, and the reason for this is actually pretty simple. The new little pig is going to grow up fast, and soon she'll look a lot like her older sister. The show's creators needed a way to make Eevee stand out from Peppa, which is why this new character has a different mark on her face. But what's curious is that so far, nobody in the show has ever talked about it. So what explanation will the show give about the heart on Eevee's cheek? Our theory is that the new piglet got this detail from one of her paternal grandparents who have never appeared before. Or maybe she just takes after Great Aunt Eevee, who is a distant relative of Mummy Pig. But one thing's for sure, it's pretty cute to see that tiny heart on Eevee's face, isn't it? Tilted House. Do you remember the episode about Madame Gazelle's house? There's something really strange in that story that almost nobody noticed, but it's still a mystery to this day without any explanation. The episode starts with the pig family visiting the town's teacher, but as soon as the main character steps inside, she starts sliding down as if she were on a playground slide. That's fine since the house is leaning to the right, but when our little pig enters another room, she starts going uphill, as if the house were leaning to the left, which makes no sense at all. Sure, Madame Gazelle's house could be seen as a magical place. After all, some fans think she might be a vampire. But even so, it's really weird for her house to be tilted in two different directions at the same time. What do you think about this detail? Would you live with Madame Gazelle? Comment #no so we can run away from the vampire. Age. One of the strangest things about Peppa Pig is the fact that Grandpa Rabbit is over 100 years old. That makes no sense, and many people have never noticed, but the character himself said so in the episode Sea Treasure. When Peppa and George go to the beach with their grandparents, our little pig finds a letter inside a bottle written by a child many years ago. The letter even had a phone number, and when Peppa calls it, who picks up the phone is Grandpa Rabbit, saying that he wrote that message more than 100 years ago. Grandpa Rabbit is a character who has the strength of a teenager even though he's a century old. He's the one who taught the kids how to exercise in the episode Gym Class. He's also the one who traveled into space in a rocket. That's definitely a super strange detail. Space. Another super strange detail is the fact that Grandpa Rabbit has a rocket ready to travel into space. This is definitely a very odd thing in the Peppa series because it's not like people just have rockets lying around. To do that, Grandpa Rabbit would have to be incredibly wealthy, and besides, the Queen wouldn't allow a mad scientist to own a rocket since he could do dangerous things with it. But even though it doesn't make sense, it's still a funny detail that exists in the show. What do you think about it? Falling down. Have you noticed that when a Peppa Pig episode ends, the characters throw themselves on the ground and start laughing? This is a super strange detail that has never been explained. Could it be that when the characters in Peppa's world are happy, see something funny, or experience something weird, like, for example, an electric shock, something happens inside their brains and that's why everyone just falls to the ground? Maybe so, and one piece of evidence is in the episode Christmas at the Hospital. When Pedro Pony is sick, something weird happens. That same day, Mr. Bull broke his leg and was walking on crutches, but at the end of the story, when everyone is celebrating Christmas, the same thing happens. The characters throw themselves on the ground. Someone with a broken leg could never do something like that because it would be too dangerous. But still, Mr. Bull throws himself on the ground even with his injured leg. Now you see how strange that is, right? But one thing's for sure, it must be pretty funny to laugh with Peppa's friends. Carrot. Do you remember the time capsule episode? In that story, a super strange detail appears when Madame Gazelle digs up the box that had been buried in the garden. There was a carrot inside. But what's so wrong about a carrot? It had been there for more than 20 years, and vegetables can't survive that long. It was Rebecca Rabbit's mom who put the carrot inside the old time capsule. Let's remember that Madame Gazelle was the teacher for Peppa's parents when they were children, which means that over 20 years ago, Mrs. Rabbit put a vegetable inside a box that stayed buried all that time. When the teacher takes the carrot out of the box, she even says it's really old, but in the real world, plants don't last that long, meaning it makes absolutely no sense. Was it still good to eat? Better not risk a stomach ache. But you know what you can risk? Subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell for new videos every day. Super Potato. Super Potato is another character that really makes no sense. But not because he's a potato, but because he has powers. This is a detail people tend to forget. How does he have the power to fly like a superhero? This is proof that magic exists in Peppa's world. The show has never explained where this power comes from or how Super Potato even exists. Could he be the result of a spell cast by a witch? Or maybe a scientific experiment by Grandpa Rabbit? Even though it doesn't make sense, it's still a huge mystery. Roof. Have you noticed that the roof of Peppa's school is always broken? This happens even though Mr. Bull repairs it several times. That's strange, and there are several episodes showing how this is really a problem in Peppa's town. There's that story where Mummy Pig had to go skydiving to raise money for the repair. Then we had the school bazaar because the roof was still broken, and during the rain, water dripped right onto the kids' heads. Later, we saw the episode where Daddy Pig ran a marathon to raise money. It's strange that even though the roof has been repaired many times, it keeps breaking, don't you think? Glitter. Did you know that Madame Gazelle doesn't like glitter? Maybe the sparkly powder is bad for her because she might be a vampire, but it's really strange that she keeps her glitter locked up in a giant safe. Madame Gazelle really does this. She doesn't like to use glitter in art class and always tells the kids she won't let them use it. But every time she's forced to open the safety vault, chaos breaks out. Now the big question is, if she doesn't like glitter, why doesn't she just throw it away? That's strange. Team. There's an episode about Mummy Pig's firefighter group, and something super strange happens in that story when Daddy Pig says he's going to meet with the Dad's soccer team. That's the name of the team, the Dad's soccer team, and it's made up of Daddy Pig, Mr. Zebra, Mr. Pony, Mr. Rabbit, and Mr. Bull. All of these characters have kids that we know. They're Peppa's friends. But the strange detail is that Mr. Bull is a character who up till now has never appeared as the father of any child. Everyone knows there's a character named Claire Cow who's probably Mr. Bull's daughter with Mrs. Cow, but they weren't married when the episode about the Dad's barbecue came out on TV. So the question remains, why is Mr. Bull on the team if no one knows his kids? One more question. Are you ready for even more fun? We've got 2 more videos lined up for everyone to enjoy. See you in the next video. Bye for now.